Welcome back, and we're on Ballyspring Farm, and we've just finished feeding our animals for the morning, and we're now going to go off. And I forgot to actually check if I'd fed those ones or not. Oh yes, I have. Yes, so everything's been fed. We're now going to go and pick up the harvester from Eustace Farmer to harvest our peas. Now, when I rang him to check that it was still okay, he was very, very excited. And we're just going to spend the game for half a second so I can explain this. This farm, as you may recall, is set in the mid to late 80s, and we're using a wee bit of poetic license because the Ford 7740 here, I'm well aware, didn't actually go into production until 1991, so it doesn't quite belong on this farm that's set in the mid to late 80s, but we're going with it anyway. We'll be looking at a new tractor today, which also didn't actually come into production until 1990. But despite that, it's going to be in this game. So anyway, getting back to the story, I rang Eustace Farmer to make sure that he was still okay with me buying. Oh, that's not the vehicle I want to hop into. Still okay with me buying the harvester to do the peas, and he said that he'd come down and do the harvesting for us. I just have to go and pick up the header, and he said that just make my way up to his farm whenever I'm ready. I can use his one of his vehicles to pull the header trailer down to my fields. So that sounds really, really good. But he was very, very excited. He said he's just got himself a new tractor. It's a bit bigger than the other one, which I must admit it's got me rather excited because he's the only farmer in the area that's got any tractors that are four-wheel drive, and he's got the biggest tractor of any in the area. He's got a little Massey, which is pretty small, but he's got a Fiat, what was it? You'll be half sticking here, just trying to do everything at once. A Fiat 180/90, which is this big, I need to attach that, ready to haul the peas in as I harvest them. So, customise. Excellent, got that ready then. Okay, so yes, Eustace Farmer owns a Fiat 180/90, which we buy whenever we're doing something that, oh, what on earth happened there? Whenever we're doing something that none of my two-wheel drive Ford tractors are big enough for. And that Fiat 180/90 that he's got, which is four-wheel drive and 180 horsepower, has always been the biggest tractor in the area. Oh, good grief. We've kind of wrecked this now, haven't we? Let's see if I can push it back around a wee bit so I can get under it. I don't know why it leaked like that. Oh yeah, that's alright, now we've got it. Okay, so yeah, Eustace Farmer's always had the biggest tractor in the area that I've buyed whenever I've needed the extra size for pulling a seeder or something that my tractors just can't pull. But he said this new toy of his, this new tractor, absolutely dwarfs the Fiat 180/90, so can't imagine what that is. But yeah, he sounds pretty excited. He said it's not quite new. He said it's almost new insofar as the timer thing that tells you how many hours the tractor has worked. He said that's gone around the clock, so since that's almost on zero, it makes it almost a new tractor again. But apparently he got it for a song. He was explaining to me that he actually bought it off Fury Machine Gaming. Apparently Fury Machine Gaming had this tractor so I didn't even know this tractor existed until I saw it on one of his old FS22 game saves. Anyway, Fury was talking to Eustace and said that since he's playing on the FS25 farm at the moment, he's not really using the old tractor on this FS22 farm, so would Eustace like to buy it off him? Which he did, and apparently got it for a bit of a song because, as I said, it's just gone around the clock on the timer, which according to Eustace makes it almost new again, and he's very, very excited about this almost new tractor. So we'll go up there and we'll have a look at it, and then we'll take the header trailer down and so we can get started on our peas and harvesting our peas today. I just saw that one of our pea fields out of the corner of my eye actually as I was going up one of those around one of those corners there, it looks to be a very, very similar colour to wheat when it's ready to harvest, which is odd because it was a bright green colour last month when it wasn't quite ready to harvest, so it looks like it's changed colour entirely between being not quite ready to harvest and being ready to harvest. Okay, so we're at Eustace's place now. Just bring the motorbike up here. So let's have a look at what this new tractor is. I'll just park this motorbike of mine up out of the way here somewhere. Maybe park it here. That should do the trick. Yeah. Let's have a look at this new tractor that Eustace has bought off Fury. So that's the Fiat 18090 that I was telling you about, which is the only four-wheel drive tractor in the area and has always been the biggest tractor in the area. But here's this new one, and wow, he's not kidding, it certainly does dwarf that little Fiat there. What is this? It's a Steyr 9270. Well, I'm not sure that it quite looks to be in as new condition. It doesn't quite look brand new. It's looking a bit tatty and ratty in places, but certainly a huge tractor. Look at how it dwarfs me just standing there next to the wheel. That is one huge tractor that Eustace has bought off Fury there. Okay, so now anyway, Eustace told me I can borrow his Holden Ute here. Now the Holden Ute, for those who don't know, is an Australian Holden. Holden is basically Chevrolet in Australia. So in Australia and New Zealand you don't buy Chevrolets, you buy Holdens. And the Holden Ute there is from the 70s. And no, I don't know why there's an Australian Ute here on an Irish farm, except that I like it, that's why. Eustace told me to start up the harvester please, and just leave it running to warm up, and he'll bring it down in a few minutes. If I can take his Holden Ute over here, which I shall do, and take the header trailer down to the field. So that's what we shall do. Look, turn it the right way. Now I haven't tried this bit out beforehand, so I hope that this Ute's got enough power and the tow bar's high enough to pull the header trailer here. It should do, because it's a fairly small header trailer, but we'll find out soon enough. So yeah, these Holden Utes, they came with a range of, oh, that's definitely sliding. Oh, I see. We hit the vet's truck accidentally. Oh well, the vet's not going to be too happy with us about that. These Holden Utes came with a range of 6-cylinder or V8 engines. I think some of them had a 186 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine. That was like the baby engine. The most common engine that they had was a 202 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine, but some of them did have either a 308 Holden V8 or I don't think ever the Utes did, but if you got the, oh dear, okay, this was not a good plan because I'm not going to be able to get over the judder bar with it. This was definitely not a good plan at all. Okay, let's have a bit of a rejig here. We shall, well, put this on the corner of the driveway so I can get past it and go back and swap it for another vehicle. Never mind, that's what happens when you don't test things out before you start recording. Okay, so yeah, so the Utes, I think the biggest engine that the, oh get out of it, the biggest engine that the Utes ever had was the 308 cubic inch Holden V8 engine. But if you got like the coupe, the 2-door coupe version of the car, or the 4-door sedan even perhaps, I think, you've got a choice. You could actually get them with a Chevy engine. You can get them with either a 327 cubic inch Chevy engine or a 350 cubic inch Chevy engine as well. But they were pretty uncommon with engines that big. As I said, the 202 cubic inch 6-cylinder was the most common engine for these, although some of them did have a 308 Holden V8. Now I'll just kill the engine on that. And okay, so what are we going to take the header trailer down on? We possibly could borrow the vet's truck there. I don't know if the vet would object or not. Or maybe we could take Fury's new tractor, in fact. That might be a good idea. It's probably a bit overkill taking this big tractor just for a header trailer. Perhaps we should really take his older tractor. Yeah, he probably wouldn't like us driving his new tractor when he's just bought it, especially given how terrible my driving is. So we'll take his old tractor, which, this one being 180 horsepower, is probably still overkill for just hauling a small header trailer with, but I don't want to have to go back to my place and pick up one of my Land Rovers or something and come back to get it. So we'll just make do with this tractor, even though it is a wee bit overkill. At least this won't have any problems over the judder bar with that header trailer. So I was hoping to get most of the pea harvest, at least when the field's done in this video, but having to muck around so much before we get it to the field even means that we'll get some of it done, but we won't get it mostly done. Damn van drivers. Okay. My fault really for not looking before I pulled out, but there you have it. We're on our way down to the field to harvest peas. Now, I've never ever done peas before, so I imagine that it's going to be quite simple, just using this harvester. But yeah, I've never seen them. You can see straight ahead of us, that field straight ahead behind the big sign there, that is a field of peas. That's my second field of peas, so we won't be starting on that one. We're going to start on the other one. But it will be interesting to see how we go with those. I can see PA Ploughboys down there buying some fruit off me, so that's all good. And this is our first field of peas here, so we'll just go and open the gate. And now, hopefully we can get in. Okay. Oh, actually I forgot to check. Houston, we have a bit of a problem. We're going to have this in completely the wrong way, facing the wrong way. Okay. What I might have to do, let's have a look. Yes, this wasn't very well planned out by me at all, but I think we can still recover from it if I back it up like this. That should do the trick. Yep, okay. So let's kill the light, the lights on top. And now, Fury should be on his way with the combine by now. And I hope he remembers to turn his beacons on. Yep, shouldn't have had to worry about that. Oh. More worried about that vet who's parked in the damn way. Might have to move the vet near his truck a wee bit. There we go. Oh, come on. Oh, that. Drats. Try to hop back in the combine, not back in the vet's truck. Okay. Now let's see if we can make it around the corner of it. I need to move that throw truck some more yet. The idea behind setting up Fury's farm here, and Eustace Farmer's farm here, was because one of the channels I watch is a couple of Irish boys that make these. They've got this farm that they've made on wood, and it looks like, you know, it's got die-cast tractors and things on it, and they set up different scenes and they move the tractors around to make different scenes, and they talk about what's happening on the farm, which I think it's quite interesting to look at them. It looks quite neat, but to me personally, I'd get rather bored with it. I'd rather play Farming Simulator, where I can actually drive the vehicles and do things. But I did think they looked quite neat, so the idea behind me setting up Eustace Farmer's farm there, it was twofold. One, it means I'm buying equipment off my neighbour rather than leasing it from a dealership when I've got equipment like, for example, a combine harvester or a big tractor that I need but doesn't don't justify owning myself on my farm. And two, my intention was to sort of set up different kind of scenes happening on Fury's farm. So have a field being ploughed or a field being harvested and things like that, set up sort of different scenes, and that's what the vet's there from. I haven't actually changed the scene over since I first set it up, so I should get around doing that. But I do think it's quite a good idea. I just never got around to sort of carrying it out because, of course, I got a wee bit bored with this map just because I've been playing it for so long. So I moved on to a bunch of other maps instead just for a while, and now we're back on this one for change. Now this map, of course, we've just put that Steyr tractor that Fury Machine Gaming had on it, and we will be introducing a few bits of new equipment here and there on some other maps as well. We're not going overboard, we're not replacing equipment we've already got, we're just adding to what we've already got in a couple of places, but so do keep your eyes peeled on as I move around different maps. We will be getting a few new things coming around now and then. Is it going to hook up? I don't know, there it is. So we need to unfold the harvester too. Okay, yes, there we go. There we go. And then I need to get the header up like that. And also pull it all the way out. Like that. I think that's how it needs to be. Now let's just that's what I needed to be in. That tractor there. Did I leave the engine on? Yes I did. Just need to get that header trailer out of the way now. Oh come on, it's going to be... Doesn't seem that my combine has lifted up the header enough to pull that trailer out. Let's see if I can move the combine back a bit. There we go. Now, let's skip back to this tractor now. Here we go, that's more like it. Now we can get that header trailer out of the way. And I think it's still going to be in the way there because we're going to be doing rows down there, but we'll see how we go. We'll manage the best we can. So if I kill that, okay. So now, look at that, we're building up a traffic jam already. Okay, let the traffic go past and then we'll see if we can get the harvest started. Oh come on, move. Thank you. So there seems to be a lot of traffic coming along at the moment. But once that traffic's gone past, I'll be able to back out a wee bit to get on the right angle to start the harvest. Okay, let's see about this and turn this on. Oh, one thing I didn't check is whether or not we have where are we? Okay, so we've got no straw swath enabled at the moment, but I know that I do need some straw, so let's just enable that now. Okay, we won't enable it, it doesn't allow straw swathed with peas. As I said, I've never ever done peas before, so it's a learn as we go experiment. Now I'm not actually sure whether in real life peas are done with a normal harvester like this, or whether there is actually a separate pea harvester that one would use. But certainly the peas are a mod on this map. It's not a standard fruit for the FS22. So whoever made the extra fruits and included peas decided that they would be done with a normal harvester. And who am I to argue with that? Okay. So now, as you can see, that the dust clouds mod is working overtime at the moment. Really bringing up a lot of dust there, but I really do love that mod, so it's not going anywhere. I didn't actually check, to see whether I had loaded the combine fill level warning mod into this map or not. I'm not sure that I have, so I will have to go back and check because I'll need that in it before we go too far, otherwise I'll end up driving over cop when this fills up and I don't realise. So we will do that. Now notice this video's already been going for 19 minutes odd, and we've only just started the harvest because there's so much mucking around to get started. So I apologise in advance. I'll probably make this about a half-hour video just so we can get a wee bit of the harvest done and we can enjoy at least some of this harvest. Because I had intended, as I said, to finish harvesting this field on a video, but I didn't plan to take so long to get the equipment down here. I thought that would be an absolute breeze and in no time, but it seems that it never works out that way, that things always take longer than planned. But I can confirm that this field here does conform with my 20-minute rule. And I'll explain what this rule is. Basically, I sort of work on the theory that when choosing size of equipment, and we're talking seeders here, harvesters here, things like that, this rule that I'm about to explain does not work for sprayers. Okay? Sprayers always seem to use a lot less horsepower for a lot more width. So spraying is quite a quick job comparatively, because you always get sprayers that spray a very wide width compared to what your harvesters or seeders and things do. But when it comes to other equipment that aren't sprayers, I've got a theory, and we're talking real time here, not time based on whether you're doing a 2 times clock or a 5 times clock or a 1 times clock or whatever. But in real time, I've found that to work out whether you've got the right size equipment for your farm or not, my theory at least is that each field should take about 20 minutes. So it should take 20 minutes to seed a field, it should take 20 minutes to harvest a field, 20 minutes or thereabouts to plough a field. And obviously fields are different sizes, so sometimes it might be slightly more than that, sometimes it might be slightly less. But if you're getting your average size field on your farm seeded or harvested or something in like 10 minutes, then it means the equipment you're using is too big for the farm. And if you're getting it done and it takes about 30 to 40 minutes, then I would suggest that the equipment you're using is probably too small for your farm. So yeah, that's the theory I've gone with, and I've watched lots of other people's videos, and I've done some harvesting on my own farms and things, either before I started in on dairy farming or like this where it is mainly a dairy farm, but I like to do a wee bit of harvesting just to keep my hand in the game still. And I've found that the 20-minute rule tends to work quite well. If it takes you too long to do a field, I mean, I know there's always going to be some exceptions to this, okay? So when Fury was doing his Lifelike videos where he had very large fields, at very small combines, and were operating them at realistic speeds, obviously it might have taken him 3 or 4 half-hour videos to harvest one field, so it was well over 20 minutes a field, well over, and that's fine. He was doing realistic speeds, and he was trying to keep things as realistic as possible, so that's absolutely fine. But my personal opinion is, if you're spending less than 20 minutes on each field with each step that you're doing, then it's all going too fast and too easy, and you're going to be making money far too easily. So you need to either get bigger fields or smaller equipment. And if it's taking you more than 20 minutes, you tend to get a bit bored. So you get bored harvesting a field before you've finished harvesting it, or bored with ploughing a field before you finish ploughing it, and so on and so forth. So yeah, from my experience, I've found what works for me is working on a 20-minute rule, that your average size field on your map should take about 20 minutes to work each step of the working, with the exception of spraying. As I said, spraying will always be quicker than that 20 minutes, just because your sprayers are always going to be a lot wider than. Then again, I mean, it would probably take more than 20 minutes if you were trying to do it with natural fertilisers, so like using solid fertiliser, because I know those solid spreaders, especially the side spreaders, don't hold very much, and so it takes a long time to do a field if you're using one of those. But so it's not a hard and fast rule, but it is a good rule of thumb to work by, in my opinion. So this is the third row around the field, and the harvest is about half full. Normally I do about 4 rows around the field, and then I start doing rows up and down after that. And that's probably what I'll stick to here. And I have absolutely no idea with these 2 fields of peas that we're harvesting at the moment. They don't really look like peas, and I wouldn't have thought peas were this colour when you're harvesting them, but if any of you have ever harvested peas in real life, let me know. A, do you use a normal combine harvester, or are there special pea harvesters? And B, is this what peas look like when they're ready to harvest? Because it's not anything like what I expect it to look like. I just want to have a bit of a closer look at these. Yeah, to me that definitely doesn't look like peas. Definitely not. I would have expected it to be green still when you're harvesting peas, but I could be wrong. I'm glad I did these peas still to see what they look like and things, but yeah, I haven't even looked yet at the crop calendar to see what we could do next. We may go back, because I want to do, I'd be quite keen on doing one of the crops from one of the DLC packs, which would either be carrots, parsnips, or they call it red beet. I think we'd call it beetroot here in New Zealand. So I may either do carrots, parsnips or beetroot. I have done these 2 fields in carrots before, so it would be repeating myself if I did that, but I may do that because I'm not sure, you know, at some point in the future, and I don't know when, but at some point I'm probably going to move on to FS25, and I think I'd like to do one of those root crops like carrots or beetroot again before I moved on. So, because I don't know how long it's going to be before I do move on. I mean, I haven't planned to do it yet, but I have slowly been downloading any mods I've found for FS25s I think would be cool, just for when I do move on, so that I don't have to sort of start looking for mods from scratch. I've already got some downloaded to use. Okay, was that 3 rows or 4 now? I think that's 3. Count the tyre tracks with the easiest way. Yes, that's 3. So I need to do 1 more round of the paddock, and then we'll probably finish the video up, and I will do the backwards and forwards rows off the recording, because I'm sure you don't want to come back to me just harvesting this exact same field again on the next video. But yeah, I know that I need to go back to my English farm. I can't think of the name of it. Greenlands farm at some point, because I've got sunflowers almost ready to harvest, and I'm just, you may have noticed, I'm in a harvesting mood at the moment. So I still love doing dairy farming, but I'm just in the mood to run harvesters at the moment. So hence why I decided to do this map, because I knew that my peas were just about ready to harvest, and I know that I'm only about 1 month off being ready to harvest sunflowers on Greenland's map. And of course Greenland's map is another one where I've had a new vehicle introduced, because I mentioned on the last video I did on that map, I've got the silo bins on that map, and that's the only map that I've got grain silo bins on my farm in. And I decided that I wanted the, I can't think of the name of it, the conveyor thing, but it's not really a conveyor because it's more got a almost like a drill bit to carry the grain up to the top of the silo with, or to carry it from the bottom of the silo up to the truck. I can't think what they'd be called, a screw something perhaps, because it kind of spins around like a drill, so I imagine it might be a screw conveyor perhaps, or something like that. I can't think what they're called now. Anyway, I've got one of those to work with the silos, and although they've got their own engine put into them, you may recall on my last video I said I really wanted one that ran off a tractor's PTO or something. So that's one of the farms that I've got picked up a new vehicle on. I've got another tractor that I'll be showing you next time I'm on that map, to attach the conveyor type thing to. Okay, so I'm guessing, because this is now at 82%, my lights haven't come on, so I'm pretty sure I don't have the combine fill level warning mod on this map. It will need to be added. I am just going to call this a day on this video, because I now notice this video is half an hour long. I need to add in that extra mod, so I will catch up with you all again later. Thank you very much. Bye.